It's fantasy football draft season. We're looking at the wide receivers. We're looking at the first few rounds, and we're trying to figure out which wide receivers we want to start our team with. And today we're going to be looking at T-Mac from the Carolina Panthers. We're going to be talking about whether or not you need him for fantasy football, whether you should be drafting him. It's all going to be right here. Before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're looking at your players with these deep dives. We're looking at draft strategies. We're going to help you set your lineups and find those gems off the waiver wire all year long. Click that button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. You do not want to disappoint Ric Flair. But T-Mac, first round wide receiver to the Carolina Panthers. Big time prospect. We've been seeing him all preseason long. We've been seeing him in training camp. He's been making a lot of plays. He looks like he's going to be the next big thing. And he looked like that coming out of high school. He was a 4-star recruit, received a lot of offers, and he was a big deal. One of the top players in his class, the 4th wide receiver over on the rankings, the 5th in the composite. And he hit right away at Arizona. 702 yards, 8 touchdowns, and then got better over time. 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns the next year, 1,300 yards. But the average depth of target, 14 on his career, 13.7 last year, and double digits every single year when it comes to his average depth of target. He gets deep targets downfield. He makes plays happen. And when you look at the tape from college, it looks like he's got a little bit of that A.J. Green in him, if you remember him from back in the day. I hope you do. And he was dominant. 304 yards against New Mexico, but we hung stats on Oklahoma, USC, some big-time schools mixed in there as well. Just a dominant wide receiver, deserving of that draft capital. And remember, we blew up. First-round wide receiver. And he wasn't a wide receiver anybody was pegging to fall out of the first round. He was locked in there, and we were waiting for him like a year and a half for him to come out in the draft. Even before that, really depends on when you start looking at draft prospects. We look at him in high school here, so we've been waiting for him for a long time. He's that type of talent. But you're looking at the wide receiver depth chart here for the Carolina Panthers. Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen, Jalen Coker, Jimmy Horn, Hunter Renfrow. It's very competitive. But he's leading the charge. If you look at Saturday's preseason game, he got 5 targets. He was out there with the ones. He made some smooth plays with Bryce Young. When Dalton came in, he was forcing targets to T-Mac. And if he played a full game, that could have been double-digit targets. He's going to be the first read, and he's going to be the mainstay in this offense. He's going to lead the charge in this wide receiver depth chart. And you're looking at what these wide receivers did last year and what Bryce Young and the other quarterbacks did with these wide receivers. They pushed it downfield. And that fits well with T-Mac. If you remember what we said a few minutes ago, T-Mac, double-digit ADOT, 14 on average on his career. Xavier Legette, 12.6. Thielen, 11.2. Moore, 11.1. Deontay Johnson, 10. Coker, 11.2. Mingo, even, 9.3. Everybody's getting deep bombs downfield. Everybody's catching that opportunity. Deontay Johnson's with the Browns. He's probably going to rack up a 20% target share sooner than later. He's more developed than Xavier Legette. And even with him being an extra year in the league, since this is his second year, he's ahead of schedule when it comes to route running development compared to Xavier Legette and some of these other wide receivers. Hunter Renfrow has been looking solid in camp. He might earn some target share. Jimmy Horn's been solid in camp. This is a very competitive depth chart. But you also want to think about rookie ramp-ups. So if you're not a patient person, you catch FOMO, you get scared when your young players don't hit right away, you may want to think about that before you draft them. You may want to think about that pretty hard because just about every rookie, more often than not, some don't, have some sort of rookie ramp up. It looks different than others. All of them almost do. And during that span, compared to the draft capital, because 4, 5, 6 years ago, the rookies did not always get drafted as high either. But you're looking at Justin Jefferson. He had a little bit of a ramp up. He hit on week 3, but also had some up and down weeks. Jamar Chase, actually had a good start for a rookie. CeeDee Lamb had a pretty solid start for a rookie. A.J. Brown had a little ramp up there with a spike week. Ladd McConkey last year had a ramp up but was flashing. Brian Thomas Jr. had a ramp up but flashed pretty early as well. So you're looking for flashes in the start of the season, and you're expecting a ramp up the back nine of the season. All of them ramped up pretty good in the back nine of the season. Just about all of them did. And you see that as a trend. So if you're not patient in the start of the season because you do not know what the start will look like, I'm expecting him to flash well, though. Similar to some of these other big-name wide receivers during their rookie season. I expect him to have a good start, but if you're not patient and you're expecting him to be a top-tier asset off the rip here, week one, that might be something you need to think about because you may want to pivot to some of the other veterans because the rookie ramp-up for most rookies is there. And sometimes they're flashing and they're looking good, and then they blow up even more. And you thought, whoa, and he just blew your face off. And that's something you might catch here with T-Mac. He's that type of talent. He's got the right quarterback for him. He's in the right system. And you're looking at Malik Neighbors. I knew you were thinking about him. What about him? He might even go blast off more this year. He had some good games last year. Started off pretty good. But all wide receivers are a little bit different. But those good wide receivers, and there's tons to look at. There's a lot of exceptions. But more often than not, there's some sort of ramp up in there the first few weeks of the season. You got to account for that. Because when we look at T-Mac, he's very expensive. Xavier Legette's right here in the offense. I don't look for him to be a threat to take targets away from him. I look for him to be a good weapon for the Panthers, especially in the red zone. These teams now on defense is going to have to make some business decisions, whether it's guarding T-Mac on the back pylon or a quick slant, Xavier Legette on a crosser around the red zone, and then you got Adam Thielen with the ball skills. I think Legette could have an okay season, but I think T-Mac's going to kill it with the targets and target share. Adam Thielen, though, could get pesky because he's a solid wide receiver. He has a history with this team. Could be pesky when it comes to targets. He's very cheap in fantasy football. If you're looking for a cheap veteran wide receiver that when he's healthy and on the field can give you consistent production, there's potential for that. Adam Thielen's there. He's in the double-digit rounds. Say you messed up at wide receiver. You only got like 2 good ones, but you got so many running backs. You're looking for a veteran wide receiver that's cheap. This is one of those that could get you good production as your wide receiver 3, flex, depth, whatever. But you're looking at the price tag here. Like I said, he's expensive. He's been rising in price on Underdog. In your home league drafts, I would expect him to be a little bit cheaper since he's a rookie. And in home league drafts, on average, they will discount rookies, especially at wide receiver. If that happens and you get to that point and you get to a sticking point where you're not liking the running backs, you want more upside at wide receiver, you're not feeling the wide receivers there, go right ahead. While he's rising in price right now, where he's at, you do have a sticking point because you do have good veterans around him that will give you good production. You're expecting him at this price tag, considering the opportunity costs of what's around him when you're looking at the veterans, quarterbacks, running backs, everything included. You're expecting him somewhere down the line this season to give you round 2, round 1 value. And if you're worried about that, if you're worried that that may not happen or he can't handle that rookie ramp-up period, you got a lot of good stable veterans around him to pivot to. That being said, T-Mac's solid. T-Mac's solid. He's got a lot of upside. He has the potential to give you round 1, round 2 production. But you're getting him round 4, round 5, maybe even round 6 in home league drafts. Remember, if you're not a patient player, and if you're a player that will dump somebody if they're not productive to your liking within the first 3 to 4 weeks, even though they might be pulsating or flashing on the field, then he may not be for you. He may not be for you. He even may cash still and blow up at the end of the season, but he still may not be for you because you might make that mistake. With a player like this, you got to see it through. And if you're not willing to see it through, it's going to hurt you, but you're seeing a bump in value because people were waiting to see more out of him. But in that preseason game, Bryce Young was targeting him heavy, And then Dalton came in, and he was forcing it to him. He was rolling out. He had somebody over top, a DB underneath. Shouldn't have been throwing that ball. Could have been picked. Just wedged it in there anyways on that incompletion. And he's going to get targeted left and right. He's going to have a little ramp up probably. More often than not there is. But he's going to go off somewhere down the line. And if you're jacked up at wide receiver and running back with your first 2 picks and decide to go T-Mac, then he's your wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. And if you can find some veterans at wide receiver, a few rounds after him, whatever hits you in the draft, you might be good during that period. He could also go off week 1. Because you look at that depth chart, sure, Adam Thielen, Hunter Renfrow, good older veterans who have been killing it in training camp. But you're looking at a first-round talent here that's starting to become a proven commodity in training camp and preseason. And there's a chance he goes off week 1. But I cover everything here. The good, the bad, the ugly. What you want, what you don't want. There's a chance he goes off. He's got some AJ Green in him. There's a chance you see him make some big plays downfield. It's early in the season. He goes off. His ramp-up might end week 2, week 3. That's when Justin Jefferson's ramp-up started to end because he blew up on week 3. Had a couple downer games after that, if I remember the chart right, and then really blew up. That could be T-Mac. He could hit sooner, he could hit later, but it's in the cards. The blow-up's going to happen somewhere this year. He fits well with his team. He fits well with Bryce Young. It's going to happen. He is expensive, though. There's good players around him. So he's an elite talent. You need him because you're chasing that elite talent, and you're going to strategize around him. Because you're going to get the veteran wide receiver ahead of him, a few veterans after him to make sure you're well-rounded for the start of the season, and then when he takes over, you're good to go. You're blowing up. You're good at running back. Now you're blowing up at wide receiver. You're good to go. You're staying away from him. You hate that rookie risk. You're not taking that rookie risk. You're not taking that gamble. T-Mac could have that for you due to that rookie ramp up. I talk about that a lot. I think when I say it, it blows over some people's heads, but you got to account for that. It really depends on how you play the game. If you're somebody that catches FOMO, if you're not patient, like Devin A. Chain a couple years ago, because that is the reference I have that keeps coming to my mind, that a lot of people kept bringing him up, asking him, when can I drop him? When can I drop him? I'm like, he's a high-end rookie. He's a guy that could go off any given Sunday. This is the type of asset he is. And it's going to happen somewhere down the line. It could even be next year. But you just got to hold on tight. And then eventually the next week after that person asked, he hit. And I hope he kept him. I told him to keep him. But that's what happens. And if you're in that line of thinking during that process, if this process for T-Mac happens, that could be you. That could be you. So really think this through when you're looking at a rookie like this. Because he could hit any time during the season. Week 1, week 3, 6, 9, 12, whatever. But the upside's there. This is an elite talent. He could win your league for you if you strategize right around him when you draft him because he has that upside. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.